Welcome to Let's Talk Cardano, presented by the Cardano Foundation. In each episode, we delve deep into the transformative world of blockchain technology. Join us as we explore how blockchain is reshaping industries from finance to supply chain and talk with some of the key pioneers at the forefront of this revolution. All right here on Let's Talk Cardano.
In this episode of Let's Talk Cardano, we speak with Monty Metzger about the shift from blockchain hype to real-world adoption and what tokenization means for the future of global finance.
Hi, Monty. Very good to have you here. You've said that you've played a role at day zero of the Cardano Summit. Now we are already the second day, unfortunately. But day zero was a big success. I've heard tons of good stories. I only joined in the evening, but how was your perception of day zero?
Well, for LCX, Cardano ecosystem is an important partner, and I attended several Cardano summits. It's my fourth now, so I've been in Lausanne and Dubai twice, and now here in Berlin, and it feels a little bit more intimate and more productive. Also the whole industry is more mature and people like to get things done. So a lot of movements, movers and shakers, and not just hype or looking for the next meme coin, but rather real institutional adoption, tokenization, growth. So a lot of super exciting topics being discussed.
Yeah, I somewhat saw the same, and it's quite different from the last years. The question, what do we do with blockchain, got turned around and said, what problems does blockchain solve for me? And while traditionally that's a very basic question to ask, what problems do I have that the technology can solve? Blockchain in the past has always been used as this marketing buzzword tool. We use blockchain, we do stuff with blockchain. And I think this year we finally got to a stage where that hype factor of blockchain is somewhat secondary. That observation is really good. So I can agree to that. But before we dive further, who are you, Monty? If you could maybe briefly give an introduction of how LCX is involved and.
Yes, so I'm a founder by heart, turned investor, and now back in the entrepreneur scene since 8 years, basically. So I'd been running a venture capital fund for many years, and we invested in Bitcoin and other crypto projects quite early, 2014. And then 2017, I discovered that there's much more to do. So I resigned as a general partner and doubled down in crypto, went all in, and started LCX in Liechtenstein, and now we're taking it global, basically with expansion in North America, MENA region, and Asia. And we invested early on in the Cardano ecosystem with full integration of Cardano nodes, giving all users the possibility to buy ADA and Cardano native tokens without creating a Cardano wallet, which kind of reduces the friction and really made the growth happen. So that's why LCX had been always very close to Cardano, what had been building. And now in the last 2 years, we also did several projects around tokenization, built a whole LCX tokenization framework and a separate company called Diamonds, which we just today renamed and rebranded to Total Finance, which stands for Total Tokenization, and had been the pioneer for tokenized diamonds on Cardano, which had been sold out immediately, and now gold bars, silver, platinum, and now going into all different kind of rare earths and commodities. So overall, I think we get to know the Cardano ecosystem, developers quite well, and I'm impressed about the strong core community. I think it's now 5 million active wallets or something like that. It might not be the biggest blockchain out there, but probably the one which real projects are developing. And I couldn't agree more that now we see the adoption really happening. It's not a question about do we need blockchain or why is it here? like, is there any relevance? We're over that point, and now it's about really a huge demand. All like institutions are just trying to catch up. What we've been doing over the last couple of years, saying basically how can they now leverage and use it, from BlackRock to large pension funds to sovereign wealth funds, all like going into blockchain, whether it's tokenizing real world assets or financial products, and basically making blockchain as the new fundamental layer of the future of finance and future of money.
It's really cool to hear that you went all in 2017. That somewhat also reflects my story. I also directly started with my own company, and then transitioned to different startups. And now I'm with the Cardano Foundation, and I specifically chose the Cardano ecosystem for its properties, to keep it low key, that I saw when being exposed to so many different ecosystems. It's not so much hype driven within Cardano. It's not so much price driven. Sure, there's also lots of that, but the enterprise focus and using the blockchain as tech, as infrastructure, was really appealing to me. I had lots of conversations these days about regulation, and I'm sure we can talk hours about how what your regulation story is within Liechtenstein, as this is super interesting in itself. But knowing Diamonds or Toto Finance, you are also exposed to many different ecosystems, and right?
Yeah.
Diamonds is tokenizing on various different chains, and I think your unique perspective of the exposure, sponsoring part of the summit here, being present, being really motivated since so long to go and to go deep within Cardano, and also being exposed to other chains, would make a really cool, quick insight into how you would compare what stands out to you with your goggles on.
That's true. So I think you mentioned several things like regulation, ecosystem. How does it compare with other chains? And like ultimately, what we like about like the Cardano ecosystem, and it's truly like a decentralized system living. Like it's like an animal or like a living creature because of the different government institutions, the Cardano foundations, and then the various supporting entities. And this makes it very special. So a lot of the other blockchain ecosystems out there are decentralized technology-wise, but from the government structure, they're still very centralized. So there are some key people. If you know them, you can do a lot of things over there. And in Cardano, it is like a different perspective to it, and that's what we like is so powerful on the long run, because of the like different ways of how Cardano is structuring the foundations, the funding, the catalyst projects, and these kind of things. And Toto Finance, or like formerly known as Diamonds, had been also part of the catalyst project. We got a grant there, and it was also a key element why we kept supporting and building out the Cardano infrastructure. And I think that's a good example of many other projects which I see out there who like get the support from Cardano Foundation, which you probably won't get at any other ecosystem.
It's always interesting to hear what goes on beyond the pond.
Yeah.
Before the foundation, I had eyes on so many different layer ones, or into so many different layer ones, that I thought I would never lose because I'm interested in all these ecosystems. But then you're in the Cardano bubble, and suddenly everything is about Cardano.
Yeah.
So hearing that is super valuable.
But I think that's the benefit, and that's the challenge at the moment as well, because there's the Cardano bubble, and we need to go beyond that. So how can it grow? How can it really get a tremendous impact? And that's where we are now discussing a couple of like large scale projects where we could see like how can we bring tokenized assets on a large scale on Cardano, whether it's tokenized in-ground commodities like rare earth, copper, oil, or gold, or something like that, which is sitting like still in the ground and it's hard to verify value and then also trade it. It's basically illiquid assets, putting them on chain, but also basic things like financial instruments, like treasury bonds or money market funds would be fantastic to have on Cardano. And that's exactly where the institutions have strong interest now, because they are looking for a reliable partner, technology which is proven and working. And at this intersection, that's where we see ourselves at the moment. We're trying to get the partners together and see if there's something we can then launch on Cardano, and it looks very promising at the moment.
Cool. If you look back into maybe 2019, 2020, when the first tokenization wave hit the Web3 space, there was the buzzword back then, I remember, where everything needed to be tokenized. And the RWA trend right now is feels a bit like a revival of that, but a way more successful revival.
Yeah.
Why?
So, I mean, there are different stages if you look at the evolution of crypto, there are different phases. And I think, let's say there are three phases. Number one is crypto native assets. So we have ADA as a token to pay fees, as a utility, voting mechanisms, governance structure, and so on. But it purely lives on the blockchain. So it's like Bitcoin or any other crypto assets there as well, crypto native. So this is the first phase of where we had the evolution of developing crypto and blockchain infrastructure. The second phase is where we seen projects doing more than that. And I think the killer app in that category was tokenization of money, stablecoins. And the third category, which we now see, is tokenization of everything else. So whether it's commodities, real estate, company shares, stocks, whatever, like basically everything could be put on the blockchain, even health data or medical information or whatever, with zero knowledge proof, a lot of like great use cases. So this is the third phase, and this is which had been always there already. 2019, people were talking about it, but there was no relevance really around it. And I remember very well, because 2018 and 19 we were what's called a new champion at the World Economic Forum at LCX. So we had been named to be part of that. I visited the summer Davos in Tianjin and Dalian in China, and we hosted some sessions together with central banks around central bank digital currencies and stablecoins. But 2019, the interest rates were negative. So running a stablecoin was a horrible business. Nobody wanted to get into it. They just made losses. Tether and others like struggled to kind of keep the backing because the costs were exploding as they grew, how to pay all these interest rates, bank partners not supporting it. And then after COVID, it completely turned upside down. And now it's kind of the killer app. And all these institutional banks and even central banks, they can't comprehend the growth which is happening right now. So Tether just did $30 billion in profits this year, 2025, and it's not even finished the year. So probably one of the most successful and profitable companies in terms of the size overall, but also the revenue per employee. And so looking at these from 2019, the technology was there already, but the use case also. Everybody needed like stable money to trade, but the business model was lacking, and then therefore nobody wanted to get in. And now, like all the banks, large financial institutions, they all want to issue their own stable coin or like digital money on chain and earn the interest rates. And so everybody's hunting that. And we do see that now happening with tokenized assets as well. It had been a topic there already, but the use cases and then the like adoption and how to make a real impact, meaning profits and turnover, this is at the moment just being started. We see financial products like treasury bonds being put on chain. We see like first commodities like what we did, gold, tremendous like demand in the market, especially with this tariff war going on, because you don't import and export the underlying asset anymore. We just keep it in one place, safe, secured, insured, but you could trade the ownership deed on it. So it's revolutionizing how global trade is being done. And so that's interesting from this like three phases, from the crypto native assets to real like use cases for everybody in the world, and then now adopting it to reinvent global trade as we know it.
Yeah. You're addressing an extremely important and an interesting point. Innovating global trade. What I see happening, or one of the big differences I see, is that financial institutions and banks and investors alike, everybody within that stakeholder group around tokenization, realizes that abstracting away a real-world asset onto the chain saves operational costs, because they can just use the blockchain as a ledger. And as you say, just trade the deed for that asset without actually moving it around. Permissionless, not changeable, with all the beautiful properties of a blockchain. And the crypto market isn't really an argument anymore. In the past, it was, how do we address all the crypto money? It was seen as this new emerging source of liquidity. But now blockchain is really used as infrastructure. And I find that beautiful, because that's what blockchain was built for.
Right. And at LCX, we are open to any of these business models, as we now are or have become the leading exchange for Cardano native projects. We get a lot of listing applications, projects pitching us saying they want to get listed. And we do see a variety of projects, from like more fun, meme coin oriented like Snag, to much more feasible projects, which are like tokenizing like data on the blockchain, like ownership deeds of real estate, for example. Cardano have been doing that. So yeah, very broad and variety of projects, really like change digitalization of something which has been analog for decades.
Is LCX a retail-focused exchange, or do you mostly work on an institutional qualified investor level?
So LCX, it's at LCX.com. We do focus on both. So we do have a strong retail environment. So a lot of like of the Cardano community are onboarded. So that's a B2C focus, and then but majority of the turnover is coming from the B2B side. So it's institutional adoption. It's a project who use our platform as well, market makers, and so on. So I would say we have a good balance of both worlds.
Cool. What stood out to you at the hackathon?
So the hackathon, so the Battle of the Builders, we had been supporting now, I think, several years in a row. And I told you that the maturity of projects has changed. It's getting more serious, more talking about like real use cases, really problem solving, not just creating any like technology hype. And it's, like we've seen a variety of projects. On the one side, building like core infrastructure layers, which is needed for Cardano to grow even faster. And on the second is like use cases and projects which are very tangible, very practical also, where we could see that makes sense. And overall, the jury had like a very tough discussion about what to take in, and now later this afternoon the winners will be announced. So it will be very exciting, and I think for every participant it's a huge chance to get the exposure to the ecosystem, to get introduced to more funding, investors, community members, clients, And so for us, the Battle of the Builders is really a fantastic environment to position LCX as an exchange, and then also as a key partner for growth.
Yeah. Very cool that you took this opportunity, or are taking this opportunity every year to support that. I'm sure that's one of the main reasons why you are so popular within the Cardano ecosystem and everybody comes to you.
Yeah. And we're trying hard for building the growth. So I told you we are growing internationally. So we've doubled down on Europe the last couple of years, and it's more than 7 years now in the making. We always have been the hidden champion. I would say not the largest, but very growing organic community of users, very loyal. And they now see the key benefits of us being a compliance-first platform. Because back when we launched, we had to ask we always did compliance, full KYC, all the hard questions, which now other exchanges just started to implement step by step. And it was a disadvantage at the beginning because we didn't grow as much. All the users just went somewhere where it's no KYC, no questions. But now having this backlog of no lags of compliance is really this unfair advantage which we now have. And people come to the platform because of this reliability and trust we've built up as a centralized exchange. And this unfair advantage helps us now to grow public. So when we now plan to launch several international markets, we basically can make it less complicated for our users to sign up. And we're finally then also open to serve much more markets. We had been blocking a lot of countries in the past, and we are now able then to enter these in a much more aggressive way. And that's exciting. This expansion, taking all the knowledge and everything we have and scaling it up.
The hard work paid off.
Yeah.
And congrats for that.
Yeah, so been here more than 7 years and want to be there in the next 7 years as well. So, and together with Cardano Foundation, I think there's a bright future, a long-term vision, and the core values are matching. So we want to change and implement blockchain in everything, in everyday life and financial markets. And probably in a few years, we don't even talk about blockchain anymore because it's implemented everywhere. Now you don't say you're connected to the internet.
Agreed.
Are you logged in? Or no, it's just there. And so I do see the adoption there happening as well, that all the financial institutions are adopting it. And from us as a community over here, I think we need to be careful that they don't take away our business. Basically, we've established that, and these large incumbents, they can't innovate as fast. Probably they have more money, they're bigger, but we should try to make a good relationship to empower them, but not that they come and take away our businesses.
Yeah.
Monty,
thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure speaking to you briefly. I would really hope that we would have more time, but there will be a next time definitely.
Perfect. Yeah. Looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Monty.
Thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Cardano. For more insights and deep dives into the world of blockchain, don't forget to subscribe and reach us at cardanofoundation.org, where you'll find extra resources and content on all things blockchain. Leave us a review wherever you enjoy podcasts. Follow us on social media and stay tuned for more coming soon.